Hey guys, welcome. So I have a video here on LXLE. It's a lightweight distribution. It's using an LXDE desktop. Let me highlight that. So not to be confused with the LXLE distribution name. It uses an open box window manager. Today I'm filming in 1920 by 1080. When you install this distribution, you will get a ton of wallpaper that are also in 1920 by 1080. Welcome folks. My video will be more than 2 minutes. All my videos have timelines and chapters. Today I'm going to be talking about a system overview and a tour. I'm also going to give you lots of tips, not only with the installation process, but also within operating the desktop in general. The terminal emulator is Sakura. You can see the name of it up here. You also have others to pick from. I'm going to use Alt F4 to close this terminal box and talk about the main website to get this distribution. I'm going to find LibreWolf, which is the native web browser from this. It's kind of like a fork of Firefox. So that means I can use all my tips and tricks about resizing text in here also. So let me do that. I'll talk about what I'm doing here by resizing the text when I get into the file manager. The website is LXLE.net. Revive that old PC. LXDE user interface is a lightweight interface. However, they're not that lightweight with software. There's tons of stuff, including a ton of wallpaper pre-installed. So I'll talk about it if you decide to download and test drive this thing. You can also find LXLE as a shortcut on DistroWatch. Alright, Alt F4 to close this web browser. Now let me talk about the installation procedure. You downloaded the image, you burned it onto a USB stick or DVD, and you brought it up on your system, and you want to either test drive it or install it. If you're going to install it, let me give you some advice. I tried to go to install it without using the live image, because there is an option there, and my outcome was poor. So I rebooted the machine and went into the live image part, and on the live image desktop was a file that says must read. So I clicked it, and it suggested not to use your internet while installing. So I installed it offline, which went beautifully. As I rebooted the machine, I found my wireless network at the top of the screen, clicked it, signed in. Then I found this annoying little message that kept saying battery low on it. I couldn't figure out how to turn it off, so I'm going to save you the hassle and give you that tip today. So basically I have a console, or how do I put this better? I have a desktop computer. It's actually a tower. So I don't have a laptop, in other words. So that message was annoying to me. So let me open up this screenshot. So I did a screenshot of the panel preferences. And oh, by the way, the reason the wallpaper is changing is because there's a tool in here you can turn on to automatically change that wallpaper. The tool is built in, or at least it's installed, let's put it that way. All right, so how do I get to this panel preferences? You right click on the panel, hit add and remove, and then panel applets, and look for that battery monitor. Again, this is if you're not using a laptop, and hit remove. Now I'm going to close both of these boxes by using Alt F4 twice. Alt F4, Alt F4. And continue. I'm going to change this randomly. So this panel bar, you can see where the dark part of it is usually a little bit skinnier like the bottom one downstairs. So to resize this panel bar, I'm going to show you the settings where your original settings were, at least on mine. Again, I'm using the 1920 by 1080 screen resolution. Right click, panel settings. This is what I'm currently using, 49 and 43 for height and icon size. The defaults were 24 and 24. Close, 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 close. Actually, this is a screenshot, so I got to use the X. Or should I just use Alt F4? I'll use the X. That one confused me for a little bit. I forgot it was a screenshot. That's why Alt F4 comes in handy once in a while. All right, those are your two tips for the panel bar and installation. Now let me continue and talk about the panel bar itself, starting on the right-hand side. You have two boxes that kind of look black. One says CPU and one says RAM usage. Whichever box you click on, they come up with the same. It's task manager with CPU and RAM usage. Quit, X or Alt F4, quit on that one. Lock screen, volume thing. Right click, launch mixer. The simple screen recorder was already installed. I didn't install any software on this distribution, so that came in handy for me since that's what I use to record videos. It's open source software. My wireless had no problem when I connected after I did the offline install and was able to sign in rather easily. Calendar. Well, you can change the month and the year, and this is just a simple calendar. There's also Osmo if you wanted to add some more events and stuff, and you can certainly install other calendars. The weather thing actually works, so I'm going to close that. And my time zone, and then this green arrow. I'm going to use two examples for this quick launch. One will be a system tool, and the other one is going to be a card game. There's a couple of games already pre-installed. So for the quick launch, I'm going to click that and type in D as in dog, and it comes up with default applications, and I'm going to hit enter. And I'll just point out item number 2, the terminal manager is Sakura. You saw that when I did system information. I have other options. Sakura is the second option here. It's in that green box, the terminal emulator. This is if you're wanting to change, let's say you installed another web browser. You get the idea, hopefully. Alt F4 to close this box. And then I'll demonstrate the game. So Solitaire is installed, so SOL opens up my Solitaire game. Now I can aim for that X in the corner to close this. I can also, after playing, use Alt F4. Random wallpaper. Click this as many times as you want. Even if you got the wallpaper changer running, you can manually change this all day long yourself. Random wallpaper, literally. Where's this wallpaper coming from? Well, let me click the next box over, your file manager. Let me first start with what kind of file manager? It's PCman FM. It's a lightweight file manager. A lot of these file managers work the same. If you've seen any of my videos, you probably have seen that I've got several, well, different types of tricks and tips for you. This one's no exception. So I am resizing not only the icons here, but the icons on the desktop. You can also do it the old-fashioned way. All right, so you can also resize this box. You can also add a new window to transfer files back and forth. I'm not going to really demo that. But all I'm doing for resizing icons is using the same way that I did it in the web browser, is holding down my control key while using my USB-based computer mouse scroll wheel to resize these icons. They do come in handy for stuff like this. Once I resize the icon to the size I want, I release the control key and they'll scroll normally. If you're using a touchpad, hold down your control key and take 2 fingers and slide them up and down. If not, do it the old-fashioned way. Now there's a couple of ways I can open these images. And by the way, the 1 through whatever it is, 17 here, I installed. This came installed on the system. There's about 100 wallpapers in here. Anyways, let me show you an example of opening something. So you can certainly double click. And I'm going to use the conventional close button. You can also, when it's highlighted, hit the space bar. And if I hit the space bar again and again, it'll just cycle through the images. So I'm going to use Alt F4 to close this thing. So what is this tool? All right, you got that so far? Alt F4, Alt F4. Now I'm going to open up the wallpaper folder and I'm going to resize these down to dinky. Just to let you see all the different wallpapers that you get installed by default. And then I'm going to resize these back up and let you see that these are in 1920 by 1080. The same screen resolution I'm filming in. Let me start with this one by hitting the space bar, and I'll just cycle through the wallpaper so you can see these. Some of these are really nice. I'm just hitting the space bar is all I'm doing here, folks. Some of them are kind of, well, I'll leave it at that. Anyways, I could be in here all day, but I'm not. I'm going to continue. Alt F4 to close. So you can see there's lots of wallpaper. So I'm going to resize this back. Home folder, trash can, Internal backup drive, USB stick. I was testing out a script in here earlier. This is my next video for this distribution. This is a backup script. You have an Rsync tool already, but I think once you actually use it, you'll probably want to see my video on this, because this only uses 2 or 3 lines of code. And then I'll just give you an example of it. It's extremely easy to use these things. All right, I'm going to continue now. I have documents, music, and talk about the default music player. Now, when I first installed this system, I'll open up this album. This WMA is a music file. It actually opened with Audio City instead of that music player. Here's another tip for you. Properties, open with. If you have other music players installed, obviously you can select others. That's the default one. Okay, I'm not going to open that. So I think that I'm done with it. Well, the file manager, you can also use 2 different windows to transfer files back and forth, which I'm not going to demo in this video today. Alt F4 to close, and now I'm going to continue. Let's go to the main menu, accessories, file manager, calculator. You have the help menu. It opens up a web page to wiki.lxe.net, and you can also resize that the same way I did the file manager. Designed to be a drop-in OS primarily for aging computers. I like that term. What's the min requirements? It looks like 64-bit processor with at least 1 gig of RAM. And who runs that? Probably most computers nowadays have a bare minimum of 4, but anyways, you can see the recommended right here, or suggested. Alt F4 to close. So there you have that, your LXLE help. Mousepad text editor, and this is the actual wallpaper changer that's built in. Paper rotator, it's a funny name. Click it, set the time, and I have mine set to 5 minutes. You can also override that by hitting random wallpaper. Screenshot tool, weather, and notepad. Next is a set of audio and video tools. By the way, every piece of software that I'm showing you comes installed. I did not install one piece of software. Audio City, blanket. This one's kind of interesting. It's like white noise or rain noise. Okay, enough of that. I'll use the X on this one. Alright, so that was blanket. Music player. If you've seen my intro video on my YouTube site, I used that tool right there with that funny name on it to plug in a video camera and superimpose a picture in a picture on a desktop. Handbrake is a transcoder for DVDs and other media. That's the default media player. Simple screen recorder does come installed, and that's what I'm using to record this video. That's what the red X in the corner, the right hand corner, is all about. And also at the bottom of your screen you'll see simple screen recorder. XF burn, CD and DVD burning. Moving on to games, I opened that briefly. I clicked that green arrow at the top and typed in SOL and enter to open that card game. There's other games in there. Alright, so now that you see that's a wallpaper random changer that I pointed out earlier. It's still running. Document scanner, document viewer. So this is GIMP. It's like Photoshop if you're not familiar with that. Simple image reducer and another image viewer. The internet mail client is Claws. LibreWolf is the only web browser currently installed. You can install others. You have a news reader and read news and feeds, I should say. Download and share files with BitTorrent as transmission, and Utox, I believe, is a peer-to-peer instant messenger. Moving to Office, we have Bookworm for your ebooks, character maps for special characters, dictionary. Homeback is like a personal accounting software. LibreOffice I will open to let you see what version this is, 7.5. The only thing it doesn't come installed is the database version, but you must admit there's quite a few pieces of software in here. Alt F4 to close. I have one more item in the Office category. It's called Osmo. So you can now click an event in here. And whether you close this guy stays up here until you actually hit quit. You can see the other options. Now I'm going to continue. That was Office. Control menu, access. Not going to talk about that one because I'm not sure what that does. The gesture recognition looks like control for desktop using mouse gestures. And the expose, I believe you can find at the bottom of the screen, fairly close to the simple screen recorder on the left. The virtual keyboard, nightlight switch, and quick launcher is the green arrow on the top panel bar. Screen magnifier, hardware, not really going to talk too much. You got the network, the Bluetooth thing, the driver manager, keyboard. The monitor setting, I'm just going to briefly talk about. So mine is capable of 4K, as you can see. Mine is also capable of high res or high refresh rates and low refresh rates. A lot of times when you pick stuff like that and you hit apply, your screen goes black for more than 6 seconds. Don't panic. Just let it time out. It's usually about 30 seconds to a minute, and it will revert back to your previous. If your screen resolution is acceptable after you changed it and you'll see it and you'll acknowledge it, then hit save. Close and continue. So I was in the monitor settings. My printer was auto discovered, and I'll open that. It's an online printer on my network. It's wireless. I'm going to close that. So there was no issue. I didn't even install it. It was auto discovered. Nice feature. Anyways, where was I? Hardware. I forgot my train of thought here. Okay, I was at printer. So pulse volume control is the next item down. Then security, we have log manager. The firewall is GovW. And then LibreWolf, lock screen, log viewer, password and keys. Users to add more users. Settings, I'm going to skip over this one. This is probably a little bit, well, it's not a cup of tea for everyone. I will click on this one. This is more user friendly to everyone. So you have these items in here, including mouse cursors. This one offers you a 24 through 64, so the size of the pointer. This will be like more for a 4K, and this will be more for like an 800 by 600 screen. The 48 works pretty well in 1080. Window border, font, and other. Close and continue. That was settings, custom and feel. The default application session, you saw me punch in that green arrow at the top and type in D. That's what opens this also. Desktop preferences, languages, greeter settings, open box settings, and so forth and so on. I'm really not going to click on. Software, I will open for a second. So if you're looking for Firefox specifically, just type in Fire. There's Firefox web browser and hit the install key. I'm going to hit Alt F4 to close this box. There's other software in there. All right, and back to software. If you're successfully installed the system and you're online, then go ahead and check and install updates to do your clean and update your entire system. So I'm going to skip over the GDub package installer and go to Synaptic Package Manager. And Mark is our user for today. It's just a made-up name, and I'll point out the fact of how many packages, where the software is coming from, and a simple install. 81,452 pieces of software or packages are listed here. 2,179 are currently installed, and the software is coming from, let me resize this box. All my videos have also timelines and chapters, and now you can see where the software is coming from. Alright, so those are the repos. Let's talk about installing software. So since I talked about wallpaper and how many pieces of wallpaper you get with this system, 100, you can also pick another wallpaper changer in addition to the one that you want to pick from this folder. So if you want some mix and you want some stuff off the internet along with that same folder, you can install this one. I would also use look and name because that's the default, and you may want to check into variety. Variety is a wallpaper changer also. I'll give you the screenshot. Today's date is 5/25/23. This will be a full screenshot, so it'll fool you. That's not my desktop. You can have the wallpaper change from 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days. You can also pause it and turn it off. You can enable and disable stuff from the internet. You can also add your own folders up to 10,000 images. It's a pretty versatile tool. How to install it is you can right click, mark, or click it and mark. And once you do that, if it requires additional stuff, then mark it and hit apply. That's Synaptic Package Manager installation. If you're not sure what that icon means, help, legend. Okay, I'm going to demark it or unmark it. It's still going to complain when I close this though. That's okay because I'm not installing anything. We have one more thing to talk about in that software menu, and that would be the PPA Manager. So your PPA tools are here. And where am I at? Software, utilities, bleach bit, be careful using that. Disk image mounter, disk usage. There's the Rsync tool I made mention earlier. That's the reason I'm going to be doing another video regarding remote sync using script files, because this can be overwhelming to some folks of how to actually work this. There is a help file in here. Okay. But you can certainly probably figure out how to use this, or you can watch out for my video using simple script files. They both use Rsync no matter what. All right, let's see, where did I leave off? All right, so there's also Gadmin, which is Samba for file sharing, print, and domain name server admin. There's also Gparted for your create and delete partitions and that kind of stuff. Sakura again is the terminal emulator, and there's others in there. Search for files, and I'll open up, this is HardInfo, System Profiler and Benchmark. This is available for a lot of different distributions. I've done several videos over the last 4 years on this, on my previous channel also. Anyways, let me blow this up. System information, CPU, RAM, motherboard info, graphics card, storage, and the printer, and a litany of other stuff. Again, this is made by HardInfo, also available for other Linux distros. You can find those in most repositories for other Linux distros. This one comes installed. All right, I left off there. So Task Manager, the USB image writer, that's if you download an ISO for making a bootable stick, you can use that tool. It's very simple to use. So is the stick formatter. Let me actually open that up because I have a USB stick inserted. So I normally don't put spaces in volume names. So something that I would do is like USB like 4 or 3 or whatever it might be, and then format. There are 4 options. If you're going to be using this kind of tool to Microsoft system or Mac and Linux, then I would probably pick File Allocation Table 32. You can see the other formats. I want to hit close because I'm not going to do that. And where exactly was I? Okay, I was on stick formatter. So the archiver tool is the last item, and then you have the run command. You can either do that in terminal, you can also do it as root, and I'm going to hit cancel. Not everybody's cup of tea, as they say. Search tool, I'll just do a simple one like JPEG. Find some JPEG and open it and close it with Alt F4. And Alt F4 to close that box. Here's your shutdown, reboot, and restart, and all those good windows. On that note, folks, thank you for watching.